the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the young man who has become a legend in his own time. You must answer. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, yes, I can. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Where is my show prep? Okay, here it is. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the best thing on radio. Really. It's the Ron Kelly Show. We're broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and blogtalkradio.com. Great to be back with you guys after a long week. TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday and it's time for, and if it's 7 p.m., you know what time it is. It's time for the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. It's powered by Amica and Porterfield Transportation. I'll get to that a little bit later on. So the murder capital of the United States of America, the murder capital of the free world is the United States of America. Yes, the United States of America is the murder capital. More people get killed in the United States than anywhere else in the world, unless they're just not telling what's going on in their country. But as far as we know, the United States is the murder capital of the world. And I'm going to connect those dots in just a few minutes. So R. Kelly, poor R. Kelly. I mean, wow. Now they want him to pay $300,000 to the families. I guess it's the last set of families anyway. Compensation. So is there any compensation for that, for what he's being blamed for? Is there any compensation for that? I would say no. Because if these people actually went through the stuff that's being alleged, I mean, God, my goodness. Shout out to R. Kelly. So it's just a couple minutes past, about 5 minutes past the hour. Everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. So, yeah, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. So the murder capital of the world, the United States of America. And so it's no surprise that Americans seem to be caught up in this murder craze that's going on in our country. Because he even got whole TV stations or his whole cable networks that are dedicated to that. You got the ID. Everything is about murder on ID. A&E, Sci-Fi has snapped. I mean, if the station doesn't have all murder programming, they have some. And so it seems like America is caught up because it works for the ratings. I mean, somebody's watching it. And it seems like Americans are caught up with the murder craze. And, here we go. In these documentaries or docuseries or whatever you want to call it are being made about these killers, John Wayne Gacy. I mean, some of the most horrid individuals on the planet. John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, some of the most horrific people ever, just devils, demons. And they're making these docuseries about these people. Now, I would think that there will be some better people you could make a documentary about. But Netflix has decided to make the Jeffrey Dahmer series, and not just one shot documentary for couple of hours. It's a series, and I just don't understand why they felt the need to make this. I guess, because they knew, and the people at Netflix knew, that Americans and our thirst for blood, that we were going to want to watch this nonsense. So the Jeffrey Dahmer story just came out the other day. I didn't know anything about it. And guess what? The families of the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer, cannibalistic scumbag, they didn't know about it either. They didn't know. So now the family is up in arms and pissed off because they weren't told the series was being made. They weren't told when it was going to be released, and they didn't get any money out of it. Here we go with the M word again. But yeah, so they didn't know. They didn't know that the series was even coming out. So here we go. And I know, and I understand Netflix, they did John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, one of the most horrible, one of the most demonistic piece of crap you ever seen in your life. John Wayne Gacy killed all of those boys and buried them under his place, under his house. John Wayne Gacy, just a horrid individual. Killed those boys, hid them under his house. So now we have Jeffrey Dahmer, one of the most incredibly evil person, that's walked the face of this earth. Jeffrey Dahmer. So I don't understand, but I do kind of understand why they made this Jeffrey Dahmer docuseries, because people are watching it. I haven't seen it. I refuse to look at it. But people are watching it. People are watching the Jeffrey Dahmer story, or whatever it's called, on Netflix. I got a few people who asked me, did I see it? And they said they saw it and they thought it was, I can't. Jeffrey Dahmer was one of the most horrible, sadistic people. It turned out to be a cannibal who not only was killing only black people. He spared the white folks, Jeffrey Dahmer. Spared the white folks and victimized black I don't want to call them sex workers, but black men who were out there on a stroll probably, and he took them home and killed them. So when they went into his refrigerator, they found, just the most disgusting person that you can think of. And they want to make a movie about Jeffrey Dahmer, the most horrific, filthy scumbag that ever had the audacity to be born. Just unbelievable. So Netflix has made this documentary. I'm not sure what it's called. Let me see if I can pull it up right quick. Yeah, I'm not sure because I wasn't even going to talk about it. I wasn't even going to talk about it. 17 people. Oh no, there was a few Hispanics tossed in there. Yeah. "17 people died at the hands of this creep, the Milwaukee Monster. And he lured young men to his house of horrors. So he got what he deserved. He was killed in prison, and they beat the crap out of him, and he got exactly what he deserved. Lamont Gates says evil or mentally unstable. Not true. He killed whites too. Yeah, I look. Now, I'm not going to watch the documentary Lamont Gates, but I did look it up, and I do see. I just said it a couple seconds ago that there were a few white folks sprinkled in there, mostly black, but there was a couple of white, maybe some, yeah, mostly black. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, Lamont Gates, I'll grant you that. It looks like out of the 17 people that Jeffrey Dahmer killed, 10 of them were black. And there were a couple of them that were Hispanic. So I just don't understand why they would even make and Lamont, I don't know if mentally unstable. I don't know if he could have been mentally unstable. I don't know. Because I mean, if he was able to assist his counsel, then he was all right. See, because he mentally unstable. See, mentally unstable people just do shit in front of everybody. They don't care who sees it. They don't care who sees it. Dave Ullman says both. Mentally unstable and evil. Just horrific. And I really don't see why Netflix would make I don't see why Netflix would even make this story. Because they made the John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, one of the most horrible scumbags that has ever walked this earth. John Wayne Gacy, who also killed children and hid them under his house. 33 young men and boys killed by John Wayne Gacy. 33 young men and boys. And they had the nerve to kill a clown. They had the nerve to put this on TV. Glorify John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy was horrible. And Stephanie Frater says he was sexually attracted to the people he killed. Well, I think, Stephanie, that he just wanted anybody. I think he just wanted anybody, Stephanie. Because, if you find outside with somebody in the street, I mean, you're not going to even see what they really look like. I'll get to your question in a minute, Dave. Lamont Gates says he stated he had an inner urge that he tried to contain but couldn't. There is a developmental trauma aspect. Well, you know what, Lamont Gates, if he had a problem and he knew he had a problem, why didn't he get some help? See, it's one thing to be crazy and not know it. It's another thing to be crazy and know it and then don't get any, get some relief. He could have got some, why couldn't he could have gotten some treatment. Why didn't he seek treatment? Dave Bowman says the Almighty Dollar. Yeah, because the United States of America is obsessed with killing and murder. I guess because the United States of America is the murder capital of the planet. Nobody, unless they're just not, saying it, unless they're just not admitting it. Nobody, no people, no country kills more of its people. And I don't mean that the government does it, but more people get killed in the United States of America than anywhere else on earth. Hey, Dave Ullman, I heard Dave Ullman, I heard you got your own version of Trump as prime minister. Dave Ullman, I don't know, or Mike Simons, I might be getting you guys mixed up. Stephanie Freitas says that sometimes a person may not be aware of the extent of their problem, or they may be aware but not be able to reach out due to fear, embarrassment, prejudice, retaliation. But wait a minute now, hold it. Wait. Where? Hold it. Stephanie Freitas says that when you get a minute, go on YouTube. And I will, because I didn't really do any research on Jeffrey Dahmer because I wasn't planning on talking about him. But I got some outside influence. So let me just, say something and not really get deep into him. But when you get a minute, go on YouTube and watch some of the actual interviews that he did. He explains that he was sexually attracted to him. Okay. I learned that from the series, but it's also good to watch some of his actual interviews. I would suppose so. It's just sickening. I just, I'm a stickler for show prep and making sure that I have all my ducks in a row. But if he say, but see, my thing, Stephanie Freitas, is that if he said that he had a problem, you guys are saying, I'm going by what you guys say. And Lamont Gate, Stephanie, earlier you said he was very self-aware of his instability. Right. So and then you went on to say sometimes a person may not be aware of the extent of their problem, or they may be aware but not able to reach out due to fear. I mean, well, I think that I would rather spare myself the embarrassment of the police and FBI agents finding body parts, the embarrassment of being exposed, the embarrassment that people know that I killed 17 people, where I killed one and then I drilled a hole in his head and poured acid into it and then decapitate. Oh my God. Oh, just the most, oh man. What I will watch though, Stephanie and Lamont Gates, Dave Ullman, what I will watch is what Mr. Dahmer, the father, what he had to say after all of this came out. I'd be interested to know that. So in any case, so they went on, Netflix went on to make the series, and they didn't tell the family members, they didn't tell nobody from the families of the 17 folks who lost their lives to this ultimate creep that they lost their lives to. Nothing was said to anybody. So I'll tell you what the sister Ipsel says when I come back from the break. It's Ron Kelly Show, everybody, and it's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and of course, it's on the blogtalkradio.com. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
righty, then we're back. It's the Ron Kelly Show, everybody, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com. Facebook, broadcasted live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, of all places. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll talk a little bit about the Jeffrey Dahmer docuseries. Oh, my God. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my. Hide my skin. Not me. It's 22 minutes past the hour. The Ron Kelly Show. All right, we're back. Since 1980, for 42 years. I call that some real experience. For 42 years, Amaker and Porterfield Transportation has been providing safe and reliable go-to get-from transportation for the last 42 years, almost as old as I am. Amaker and Porterfield have been providing schools, churches, field trips, transportation to football games, high school football games, you name it. Amaker and Porterfield has done it and has done it safely and reliably. Their drivers are well credentialed and conscientious, and they make sure that your ride goes as smooth as you want it to be. So do yourself a favor. And if you happen upon Amaker and Porterfield Transportation, just let them know that tell them that you heard it on the Ron Kelly Show and you'll get a 10% discount. That's right. Tell whoever answers the phone in the office that you heard about Amaker and Porterfield Transportation on the Ron Kelly Show, and you'll get a hefty 10% off your contract. It's 908-753-6423. That's 908-753-6423. Amaker and Porterfield is located at 307 Arlington Avenue in Plainfield, New Jersey. Now, just because they may not be in Patterson or Newark, that doesn't mean that you can't be helped. So give them a call. 908-753-6423, 908-753-6423, and make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Ron Kelly Show for your 10% discount. It's 24 minutes past the hour. Yeah, and I mentioned Jeffrey Dahmer's parents. The father, Lionel, is still alive. The father, the serial killer and filthy cannibal, but the mom is dead. Joyce died of breast cancer. Yeah, she died of breast cancer. And how did he get away with this for so long? Because the killings took place between 1978 and 1991. That's 13 years. 13 years. So everybody, I'm talking about Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Jeffrey Dahmer story. Just started streaming on the 21st. And I didn't even know about it. Somebody told me about it's supposed to on Netflix. 17 teen boys and young men murdered by this freak. And how did he evade arrest for so long? Because he did some stuff. As a matter of fact, one of the guys escaped, ran out the door naked, and he wound up in the hands of the police. And then the police gave him back. The police gave the kid back to Jeffrey Dahmer. Gave him back. I couldn't finish watching it, says my good friend Ronald McCready. I don't want to visit the horror of his life. Yeah, I haven't watched it at all. Lamont Gates says, I say go back, thoroughly read about Dahmer, and then let's have a discussion. You're asking questions that have been answered already. Well, no, Lamont, I'm not going to do that. I produced this show. It says Ron Kelly Show. See up in the corner right there? You see up in the upper right-hand corner, it says the Ron Kelly Show. That's where it stays. I'm not going to, and I said it a couple times, Lamont. I don't know, maybe you just didn't hear me, but I said that I wasn't planning on doing a show about Jeffrey Dahmer. That's why I didn't do any show prep. Now my point is that I'm really trying to make is that the families of the dead people that Jeffrey Dahmer ate, abused, raped, murdered, were not told that this was going to air. They were not told this was going to air. None of the families were told that this was going to air. See, that's where I'm going at, Lamont. I don't give a damn about Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, I could care less. But he's not going to be the topic of any show that I do. But what I'm saying to you is that, my point is that the Netflix series was done without the families. Done without the families. And, and the problem is, first of all, the problem now is that none of the families were told about this Jeffrey Dahmer nonsense. And you would think that they would have said something to some of the families like, hey, we're producing this Jeffrey Dahmer. But they were as clueless as I was. But no, Lamont Gates, the show is not about Jeffrey Dahmer. I want to make that abundantly clear. He just happened to drip into the conversation. But the families were not told about Jeffrey Dahmer and the Jeffrey Dahmer series. And I think that they should have been told. I think that they should have been told. They should have been told. So, yeah, and I really don't want to watch it. The families of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims, man, they found somebody that looks just like him. Eric Perry, who's the cousin of Errol Lindsay, spoke out on Twitter to express his discomfort with Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan's new Netflix series that stars Evan Peters as the infamous serial killer. Now, Rita Isbell was a lady who was bugging. I hate you, Jeffrey. I hate you, Jeffrey. I hate you, Jeffrey. Was the lady who they showed making an impact statement. Actually, she was screaming with an impact statement. And yeah, she was making a statement with her impact. The families in murder cases or post-conviction cases, the families are allowed to say something, and the families were not allowed. And so Rita Isbell, who is the person that you see back in 1992, making an impact statement, 1992, and now they have another lady who looks like her and who's wearing the same thing she's wearing. And Rita Isbell says that the actress who's playing her in the Jeffrey Dahmer docuseries says that the actress said exactly what she said that time. Now there's a little bit difference in the hair. The hair with the actress, the hair is going to the right. And Rita Isbell, the hair is going to the left. And I guess they did that to avoid any possible lawsuit because they are portraying Rita Isbell in the Dahmer docuseries. She says, I'm not telling anyone what to watch. I know true crime media is huge, but if you're actually curious about the victims, my family, the Isbells, are pissed about this show. Creating my cousin having an emotional breakdown in court in the face of the man who tortured and murdered her brother is wild. And I do think that there was some that the people at Netflix, they just didn't give a shit, to put it mildly. They just did not care. But no, Lamont Gates, this show is not about Jeffrey Dahmer. I'll never do a show on Jeffrey Dahmer. It's half past. It's 28 minutes before the hour. So you notice that there's so many. I was driving behind a bus, and the bus had a sign on it that talked about what to do if you're exposed to radiation. And then the mayor of the city of New York, Eric Adams, was talking about, had a PSA running about what to do in case there's a large-scale exposure to radiation. And, and there's more talk these days about radiation. There's more talk about nuclear weapons right now than there's ever been. They're talking more about, since the Cuban Missile Crisis, where John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, blockaded Cuba and would not allow the Soviets, as they were known at the time, would not allow the Soviets to place missiles on Cuban soil. No. And that's the closest that we've ever come to like nuclear war with another superpower, was when John F. Kennedy blockaded the Soviet Union and prevented them from putting missiles on Cuban soil, because Cuba's only 90 miles away. Do you know how long it take a missile to get from Cuba to here? Oh, about 8 seconds maybe. So that was the closest we've ever came. But fast forward to 2022, we have all of this talk about nuclear weapons. And I'm really actually surprised that they haven't been used again. So here we have Putin talking about it and saying, I'm not bluffing and all of this stuff. And it seems, and nobody's afraid. Because we all assume that, it's a zero-sum, game. You shoot, I shoot, you lose, I lose. And the world is just a ball of dust. Because there would never, if something was ever to break out, there's no way that this world would ever be rebuilt. Maybe 1,000 years from now, but no time soon. Because if there's a nuclear strike, you have to wait years before you can build anything on that where the missile hit. But there's a lot of talk these days about missiles and nukes and stuff like that. And it's almost as if people are starting to accept that, that one day there's going to be something. But there's a lot of talk about nukes these days. And when I saw the Eric Adams, I was shocked. I was shocked and amazed. So yeah, I guess people are starting to. I guess folks are, coming to grips with what's going on in the world. So. Yeah. So Florida, I have a couple folks, people out, loved ones in Florida. I did reach out to them today, and they were going to work. They were like, well, nothing happened. It rained, but, West Palm Beach. She lives in West Palm Beach. And according to her, besides a little rain, there was no floods, there was no nothing, So I guess, and in that area, it's a rural area, West Palm Beach. I mean, it's a town, but it's a rural area. So I guess that's what really saved them. Anyway, it's 24 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly talk radio show. How honest are you, Lamont Gates? How honest are you with your mate? Who I assume is Stephanie Freitas. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I say with anybody, how are you honest with your significant other? So there's a bunch of talk about Uwe Udoka, who was the coach of the Boston Celtics, was supposed to be allegedly the getting married, the groom to Nia Long. And, I don't talk about this star nonsense. Yeah. And so allegedly, Mr. Udoka was having an affair with one of the girls from the office, the Boston Celtics front office. Allegedly. I mean, I don't know if he did or not. And people are making a big deal out of it, I guess, because it's Nia Long. And who the heck is Nia Long? The Rebbe, Lamont Gates says, the Rebbe says, always tell her what she wants to hear. So Lamont Gates, do you tell your wife that she doesn't know how to perform? Do you tell her that? Your wife or your girlfriend? Hey, look, you gotta, do you, see, because what you tell a person, what you tell a significant other, a loved one, a partner, a husband, wife, then it's not always going to be something that they want to hear. It's not always going to be something they want to hear. So do you tell your girlfriend or your wife, hey, you got a little fat, there's a little fat around the waist or your ankles? Do you tell them that? Do you tell your loved one that you're not satisfied in the relationship? Do you tell them that you're not sexually fulfilled in the relationship? Do you tell them that? See, because a lot of us don't. We'll suffer in silence forever, and we won't tell our significant others how we actually really feel, because we don't want to hurt their feelings. So we don't say what we feel. We keep it to ourselves. We'll keep it to ourselves. We don't tell our wife or our girlfriend that she's not sexually satisfying. You don't tell them that because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Or a woman, for example, a wife won't tell her husband that he's not rocking her boat. She won't tell him that because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. So they sit back, and for years and years and years, something needs to be said and nobody says it. Joanne Jackson, hey boo. Joanne Jackson says, I don't think it's good to keep it to yourself. If I don't meet your needs, I want to. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But see, people won't say it. People won't say it. Yeah. People won't say. No. I think that you should. I would want to know if I'm not performing right, if there's something I'm not doing, because a lot of times the person already knows anyway. They know they're deficient in this area, or they know they're not performing in that area. They know they know. They know. And Joanne Jackson, and I agree. Joanne Jackson said, I don't think it's good to keep it to yourself. If I don't meet your needs, I want to go on. Well, see, it's not necessarily about moving on, Miss Jackson. It's not necessarily about moving on. I mean, maybe you can improve in that area, whatever it is that he or she has a problem with. Maybe you can improve in that area. Maybe you can get better in that area. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can get better. Lamont Gates says, I sided with the glorious teachings of the Rebbe. Also, Lamont Gates, so was that you I saw coming out of the, was that you I saw coming out of the temple the other day? I said, boy, that looks like Lamont Gates. Coming out of the temple the other day, temple, was that you? The Rebbe is dead, isn't he? Isn't the Rebbe dead? Menachem Schneerson, Lamont Gates, isn't he dead? Menachem Schneerson was the Grand Rebbe of the Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn. I think he died. Because I remember way back that anytime somebody's running for mayor of New York City, you got to go past the Rebbe's house. Lamont Gates says he's alive for eternity. I didn't know you were Jewish, Lamont Gates. That's news to me. Anyway, it's yeah. So do you tell or don't you tell? And I want you guys to participate. I mean, I know some of y'all who are in relationships are not going to say anything because then wifey or husbandy will be saying like, well, what is it that you got a problem with? And now you got to tell. So I get it that you don't say anything. But me personally, I believe that you should tell. All right, it's what is it? It's where's the timer? It's 16 minutes before the hour. We'll take a quick break, come right back with more. This is the Ron Kelly Show. Okay, I got it. This is the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Okay, what are you doing? I always saw myself on all of those buildings. I always saw, always dreamed that one day my picture would be in Times Square on one of those big bulletin boards, the Ron Kelly Show, with yours truly. 14 minutes before the hour, everybody. And I started out the show, in case you're just joining us, I started out the show talking about Rita Ipsel, who is the lady that you see screaming, I hate you, Jeffrey. I hate you, Jeffrey. Rita Ipsel, who's Rita Ipsel who's related to one of the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. I believe she's the cousin of Jeffrey Dahmer, Rita Ipsel. And they're pissed. Because, because what happens, it brings back memories, It brings back memories of the past. What happened in the early 90s. I can't believe it was that long ago. And Jeffrey Dahmer got what he deserved when he got to prison. Somebody beat the crap out of him. And he deserved every punch, every kick, every stab wound, every stomp. He deserved every bit of it. Every bit of it. Somebody said earlier, okay, Stephanie, okay, I got to backpedal to some of the comments that were made. Stephanie Freitas says, don't take it as a defense for what he did. Is simply a potential explanation. Yeah, okay, because we were talking about whether Jeffrey Dahmer, and I really didn't want to get into him, but since everybody is, I don't want to deny my audience a chance to have a conversation about Jeffrey Dahmer. And now, if he was aware of what was going on, if he was aware, he could have sought help. Now, wait a minute. Let me pull this up. Yeah, because one of them, so with the Ipsels, Rita Ipsel is pissed off because they weren't told about the docuseries. Now, Tracy Edwards. Tracy Edwards escaped from Jeffrey Dahmer. Tracy Edwards was one of the people who lived. Tracy Edwards. Now, Tracy Edwards was almost a victim. He was almost a victim. Now, Tracy Edwards escaped from Jeffrey Dahmer. Got away from Jeffrey Dahmer. Tracy Edwards. Now, Tracy Edwards, the way he's portrayed in Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, Jeffrey Dahmer would engage in sex acts with the victims' bodies. Oh my God. Before dismembering them. And he kept souvenirs from his crimes like skulls and genitalia. Just horribly disgusting. Dahmer killed 17 people, usually young gay black men. And between 1978 and 1991, one person got away. Tracy Edwards. He was the only man to escape. And his story helped lead to Dahmer's eventual arrest and conviction. On the 22nd of July in 1991, the police found Tracy Edwards wandering the streets with handcuffs hanging from his wrists. So Dahmer must not have connected him properly. Edwards led police back to Dahmer's apartment where Dahmer had offered to get the keys for the handcuffs. Police officers searched Dahmer's bedroom for the knife that Edwards said he had threatened him with, and they spotted Polaroid photos Dahmer had taken of other dismembered bodies. When police searched his apartment, they found a decapitated head in his fridge and other terrifying souvenirs from his killings, including jars of men's genitalia and a large gallery of Polaroid pictures from his victims. So he got away, and the police actually gave Tracy Edwards back to this creep. Gave him back. Lamont Gates says that addicts are constantly aware of addictions, but if urges are stronger than resilience, then one won't seek help. This happens with several addictions. But you know what, Lamont Gates? Addiction, I mean, it's the willingness of the individual is what determines whether you survive, whether you're able to get clean, for example, or not. It's the determination of the person who's got the problem. It's the determination that it's that determination that decides whether you are able to overcome. Because urges, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Lamont Gates says, do you believe alcohol? 7 minutes, 40 hours, Lamont Gates. Do you believe alcoholism is a disease? Yes, I do. See, alcoholism and drug addiction were criminal acts. Drug addiction and alcoholism were considered criminal acts. Like crack, for example. People were thrown in jail for doing crack. You see, but you fast forward to today, and these things are considered illnesses. The folks who are taking Xanax and all of these pills, white folks, incidentally. And so it's now considered a disease. But for years, people were getting locked up. And some people are still locked up with the Rockefeller drug laws and Bill Clinton crime bill and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Hillary Clinton's the super thieves or the super predators or whatever, as they were labeled. And black folks were going to jail for years for this stuff. Years. No, I haven't contradicted myself, Lamont Gates. And you know, alcoholism, who do you hurt if you're, you know, an alcoholic? Who and let's say you don't drive, whatever. Who do you hurt? See, it wasn't alcohol that was driving. And no, I didn't contradict myself. And if I did, I stand corrected. I don't believe I did. No. Addicts are constantly aware of addictions. No. Yeah, you're hurting yourself, Lamont Gates, but Jeffrey Dahmer didn't get drunk and didn't go out and find people to kill. Matter of fact, there's very little, it's 5 minutes before you, everybody. There's very little talk about Jeffrey Dahmer drinking in his story. So it wasn't like he was okay. Jeffrey Dahmer had a mental disease and he was a creep on top of it. But no, no. I say that, Lamont Gates, I say that alcohol didn't drive Jeffrey Dahmer to do what he did. It wasn't about alcohol. He did what he did because he has a mental disease, mental illness. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer had a mental illness because nobody in their right mind, or nobody who's even awake, it's 4 minutes before the hour. Anybody who's conscious, can you imagine cutting off the genitals, cutting off heads, putting the heads in the refrigerator, putting the genitals in jars? Just the most abhorrent outrageousness that I've ever heard of. But Jeffrey Dahmer didn't get drunk and then go out and find people to kill. I see no mention of drugs or alcohol in Jeffrey Dahmer's story, unless I missed it. You know, so it's 4 minutes, 40 hours. Joe Biden called the name of this Congresswoman Walensky at a rally earlier today or yesterday. Joe Biden called the name of this congresswoman who died in a car accident. She died in a car accident, and Joe Biden said, "Hey, are you here? Miss Congresswoman Walensky, are you here?" Anybody could have did that. Lamont Gates says it's not about being drunk. The topic here is an addiction. And no, that's not the topic, Lamont Gates. No, it's something that we're discussing, but no. No, that's not the topic. But what I'm saying here is that Jeffrey Dahmer did not go out and get drunk and then go kill people. So it wasn't he wasn't driven by alcohol or drugs to go out and kill people. This is my point I'm trying to get across to you, Lamont Gates. He did not drink and kill, or whatever the case may be. His inclination to kill came from within, whether he drank, whether he did drugs, whether he stood on his head. Jeffrey Dahmer was a killer, a murderer, a filthy animal, and a cannibal. And there's no punishment in the criminal justice system that would suffice. So he got beat to death on the bathroom floor in the prison, which that's close. It's not about being drunk. The topic here is addiction and the. But see, what I'm talking about, Lamont, is just a couple minutes. Oh God, it's almost 1 minute before the hour. Joanne Jackson says, although alcohol, drugs, sex addicts is all disease. Some people want help, some don't want it at all. Lamont Gates says, my alcohol comment wasn't about being drunk. It was about addictions. Please read the top of his thread. No, I'm not all over the place, Lamont. You're all over the place. You're all over the place. I'm not all over the place. I'm a radio personality. What I'm saying to you is that alcohol was not the motivating factor for Jeffrey Dahmer to go out and do what he did. That's all I'm saying. He wasn't an addict. He didn't do drugs. He wasn't an alcoholic. He just went out. He had a mental disease. He had a mental something went wrong in his brain, and he killed people. He killed people. But my point is that he didn't drink. He didn't drink. He didn't do drugs. His murdering those 17 people had nothing to do with drinking or drugs. His motivation was, I can't even explain it. His motivation came from somewhere else. All right, Lamont Gates, no, I'm not all over the place. Everybody's always trying to tell me how to run my show. Anyway, mental disease. Yeah, he had a mental disease. He wasn't getting, thank you for saying mental disease. Yeah, exactly. He had a mental disease, but it wasn't about alcoholism or drug abuse. It was not. Okay, it is 8:00 on the dot. I need a cigar now. All right. So we'll see you back here next Thursday. I believe I'm going to be doing a live broadcast from somewhere next week. So I look for you all to be there. Thank you so much, everybody. Lamont Gates, Joanne Jackson, Ronald McCready, Dave Ullman, Stephanie Freitas, and anybody else who was listening to the Ron Kelly Show today. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you back here next Thursday for another edition. So until then, I like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And that we may not have it all together, but together we can certainly have it all. Thank you so much, Bunny McKnight, for the heart. Love you, man. See you back here next week. Later.